20th at 7 p.m. here in the 3rd Street Center. There are roles for singers, readers, creative support, and hospitality. Misha will host a short information session after the service today around 11:30 here in the True Room.
True Office.
Oh, the True Office, okay, up the hall. And if you are interested in helping or curious to learn more, please come by or talk to Misha directly. This Sunday, we're kicking off True's food drive for Lift Up. Please bring non-perishable staples or holiday foods with you to worship so that we can help stock our neighbors' pantries from Parachute to Aspen. Together, let's fill our baskets with hope, nourishment, and love. There is also a notice at the back. Peter says that you can refer to during the coffee about how to get in touch with Jeff Hurd to evaluate the parole denial of the 2 children and their father in Grand Junction who were detained in Durango as the family was here legally, but it was misrepresented or misidentified by ICE. A family that has followed the law should not be separated. And so there's suggestions you can speak to Peter at the end of the service or get the information for how to contact Jeff Hurd, Representative Jeff Hurd, and tell him that you're not happy about that. Okay? Any other announcements anybody can think of? Okay. Our prelude music now. Break.
I met a prophet, dark as the night. She could see into my soul. She said she'd been watching and had some advice. She said shadows make you whole. Life without pain is a wolf in sheep's clothes. 'Cause if you listen to the lessons that it holds, you'll find the gold. Child, it's time to break the shell. Life's gonna hurt, but it's meant to be felt. You cannot touch the sky from inside yourself. You cannot fly until you break the shell. I can remember when I was a child, how the grown folks seemed so crazy. Why they so angry? Why they so loud? And when I grow up, that's never ever gonna be me. That was the moment that I decided that I would build a wall just shy of 6 feet tall, too strong to fall. Child, it's time to break the shell. Life's gonna hurt, but it's meant to be felt. You cannot touch the sky from inside yourself. You cannot fly until you break the shell. Courage is not being hard. It's time to peel back all of the layers you put between who you're meant to be and who you are, and go be who you are. So much disappointment to finally understand that there's no such thing as perfect. We're all simply doing the best that we can. We we have a choice to live, or truly be alive. This is your life. Child, it's time to break the shell. Life's gonna hurt, but it's meant to be felt. You cannot touch the sky from inside yourself. You cannot fly. Child, it's time to break the shell. Life's gonna hurt, but it's meant to be felt. You cannot touch the sky from inside yourself. The bird cannot fly until it breaks the shell. Do with these words what you will. It's time for us to be for real. You'll be stuck on the ground until you finally break the shell.
Thank you, Misha. Beautiful. I've asked Ed to light the chalice, assuming the lighter works and the wick is the right length. Yes. Thank you. I've had a lot of experiences with different ways of opening sacred space for gatherings, so I thought I would share the one I learned in shamanic training. From the Quero tribe in Peru. This is just the ending part because you start with blessings from the north, the south, the east, and the west. And then you finish by saying, Pachamama, Mother Earth, Gaia. Notice it starts with the feminine, which is our topic, I think, next week. We gather for the healing of all of your children, the stone people, the plant people, the four-legged, the two-legged, the creepy, crawly ones, the birds in the air, and the fish in the sea. May we be hopeful gardeners of the Spirit. Father, Son, Inti Taita, Grandmother Moon, Mama Kia, Dios, Allah, Wankontaka, Espiritu Divino, you who are known by 1,000 names, Namah Shivaya, thank you for bringing us together to sing the song of life for one more day. All that we do is in your honor. Bless us. And now for our opening hymn, please stay seated for all that is our life.
That is our life, we sing our thanks and praise, for our life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad. For needs which others serve, services we give, for work and its rewards, for hours of rest and love, we come with praise and thanks. For all that is our love, for sorrow we must bear, for failures, pain and loss, for each new thing we learn, for fearful hours that pass, we come with praise and thanks. is our life. We sing our thanks and praise, for our life is a gift which we are called to use to build the common good and make our own days glad.
Now we will have our spoken unison covenant. Love is the spirit of this community, and service is its law. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Now the Spirit, sung aspirations.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirs of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the air, giving life shape of justice. You told me close, wings set me free. Spirit of love, come to me, come to me.
Now we have our story for all ages. This is for those of you who feel like children, and there are plenty of us that do, I think. Thank you to Kate Friesen. She was going to be our storyteller today for children. We have a theme, actually, about flow and boats, things like that. There's a wonderful hymn later, Rowing Our Blue Boat Home. It's a traditional Unitarian hymn. And this story is called The Little Boat. Once there was a little girl named Maya who lived and loved to make things with her hands. One bright morning, she folded a little paper boat from a white sheet, and she drew a blue stripe down each side, and very proudly she wrote its name on it, and she called it Courage. Maya wanted to see if Courage could float in the stream behind her house. But when she reached the water, she hesitated. Well, what if the water is too fast? What if it sinks? She whispered to herself. Her grandmother sat on a smooth rock nearby, watching with kind eyes. Boats are meant to sail, my dear. If you hold on too tightly, you'll never see where it can go. So Maya looked down at the tiny boat resting in her hands. She wanted to keep it safe, but she also wanted to know what it could do. So taking a deep breath, she bent down and gently set Courage on the surface of the stream. At first, it wobbled and spun in circles, and Maya gasped and nearly reached out to grab it, but then the current steadied the boat, carrying it forward, smooth and bright beneath the sunlight, until it went around the bend and out of sight. For a moment, her heart was heavy. She missed that little boat already, but as she watched the water glisten and move on, she felt something new. It was a quiet joy. And she smiled and she whispered, "Goodbye, Courage. Go have your adventure." As Maya walked home, her heart felt lighter, her hands freer, and her spirit stronger. She realized that sometimes Letting go isn't really losing something you love. It's trusting it to find its own way. And maybe, just maybe, her little boat would drift downstream to someone else, another child standing by that downstream place who would see it, smile, and love it too. Where did this come from? Letting go can be a blessing for other people, not just for ourselves. That's our story for today. So I'm going to put this little boat over here. Now we have time for a pastoral meditation. This is where we open space to honor those who are on our hearts, those who are facing challenges, those who are celebrating milestones, and those who are no longer with us, but whose presence we still feel. If you would like to speak the name of someone you are holding in love, we invite you to do so now. And when we say their names out loud, it's a way of inviting this community to share our sorrow, our gratitude, and our hope. Please speak clearly if you have anyone to share with us at this time. And for all those who remain unspoken, whose names live quietly in our hearts, we hold them too. Please join with Paul Dankers in the spirit of meditation.
Take a deep breath, friends. Feel the air move in and out, freely given, freely received. Each breath is a gift, as ordinary and as precious as a single tissue pulled from the box. We think we have so many left until we don't. Let your breath remind you of this truth, that nothing we hold lasts forever, and that's not a reason for despair. It's an invitation to gratitude. For a moment, bring to mind something you love, a person, a place, a morning cup of coffee, a bird singing outside your window. Let yourself feel thankful for its presence in your life. And now imagine releasing it, not with clenched hands, but with open palms. Whisper to yourself, thank you. Thank you for what has been. Thank you for what is. Thank you for this breath, this moment, this heartbeat. May we learn to meet each ending, small or great, with gratitude overflowing.
When the cold and winter comes, starless night will cover day. In the veiling of the sun, we will walk in bitter rain. back again.
So I'm going to do something a little bit different. Instead of a reading, I'm going to put a little different frame around this topic that we are talking about. Because there's a reason that nurturing gratitude is our focus for this month. The most recent National Institute of Health study in 2023 analyzed 64 randomized clinical trials demonstrating that people who use gratitude interventions, which might be things like journals, gratitude journals, mantras, meditations, nature walks, people who use those experiences to increase their feelings of gratitude experience better mental health, less anxiety, sadness, and depression, more positive emotions, and fewer stress hormones. But there's one intervention that turns out to have a similar impact, but that's not on that list, and that's psychedelic experiences. And in particular, the therapeutic use of psilocybin, or psychedelic mushrooms, we call them. Therapeutic means following a strict research protocol and scientific research norms, but not casual party use. Now, I've always been interested in research because professionally I was doing a lot of personality research on senior leaders across many different cultures. And so my mind is kind of like, okay, what kind of information do we have here? If I'd had my way, I probably would have had some kind of a list there at the door. And everybody who has had some kind of psychedelic experience, just put a hatch mark there. So we could then say about ourselves, well, 22% of you have had some kind of a psychedelic experience. But we thought that probably wasn't appropriate here, so we didn't do that. But I would be very curious because most people I discover have had some kind of a brief psychedelic experience. Lord knows this has been around 6,000 years or more. It's a part of our human evolution. And for some reason, a plant seems to have kind of scary impact on people. So I'd like to put a little different frame here around this topic and how I come to have this, my own unplanned and surprising personal experience. In 2000, Johns Hopkins University finally obtained federal government approval and funding for a research study called The Psychopharmacology of Psilocybin in Healthy Volunteers, to be headed by a gentleman by the name of Roland Griffiths, who has become very well known. Now, I don't know how many of you, when you get to this point in life, further along, and you look back and you say, gosh, I had an opportunity and I took it. What an amazing thing. It turned out to be very important in my life. But it also turned out to have historical significance, which you would never have known in that moment, you know. So it's interesting that we have opportunities as we live through our life. I happened to be at an IONS meeting in the fall of 2000. Now, IONS is the Institute of Noetic Sciences. It's the community organization that also is supportive of the scientific study of consciousness. Now, that was formed in 1973 by Apollo astronaut Edgar Mitchell. Because when he was coming back from space and he saw that delicate little blue ball in the darkness and the vacuum of space, he had this epiphany And it was a total shift of consciousness. And nowadays, we call that the overview effect. And people pay millions of dollars to get on a rocket and go up and just get a glimpse of that for 10 minutes. Because it is a significant shift. And when he came back, he said, I want to study what this is, because everybody who does this and who comes back has that shift of awareness. So I was in this community meeting. They're all over the world, by the way. There were two speakers, Bill Richards and Mary Cosimano was there. And he said, we're looking for people to take part in this research. And would anyone here be interested? And it comes to find out, I was very curious, being a research kind of junkie anyway, but then he said, you would be a scarce asset, because we can't find many people your age who are psychedelically naive. And I thought, well, that's good. I was 6 months shy of being 60, and that was the limit. You had to be 29 to 60 years old. I was not only naive, but I was also uninformed. I really didn't know anything about it. So I didn't know enough to be frightened, but when he explained the whole protocol, which is what I want you to understand about the difference between therapeutic use and maybe some small party experience you might have had, or impactful, right? Salud. It was the purpose. I was in cohort 1, the first cohort, and the purpose was to describe the experiences on psilocybin if normal people had transformative or transcendent mystical experiences. So I signed up. That sounded good to me. The therapeutic process turned out to be about, I remember it as being maybe 6 months long, 3 months of counseling with Bill Richards, who's written many books and turns out to be quite well known in the psychedelic sphere. 3 months of counseling, multitudes of tests. I had to take drug tests, the same personality test, maybe 3 or 4 or 5 times. I had to do psychiatric testing. The joke in my family was my mother was relieved I passed because I was known for putting the fun in dysfunctional. So all of that constant testing, which has to be very prescribed, very rigid in those kinds of research. And during the session, because you get 2 sessions, you didn't know what you got. And they never told me or anybody else, but you could figure it out when you read the publication, which is one of the most cited publications in this field. It became pretty clear of my 2 sessions. The first one was a moderately heavy dose, and the second one was probably Ritalin. And now I want to tell you that was pretty boring. But in the first one, of course, for all of them, you're blindfolded. You put earphones on. Music is a very intense part of it. Definitely a focus of the research going along in different groups, that type of thing. But it was always an integral part of this lifting up and this shift of consciousness. In the old days, which was when that was, in 2000, it's hard to believe it's been 25 years, there were 2 sitters. So Bill and Mary were with me. The tradition there was one of them had to be the DJ in those days. And so they did basically nothing but change the records. But I was also audio taped, videotaped. A physician would come down from upstairs every few hours and do vital signs. And I mean, it was quite something. So it was about 6 months long, definitely transformative for me. In the follow-up, they were very focused on follow-up. The impact they learned, typically people would say, the most impactful personal spiritual experience I've had in my life. And after up to 5 years, 6 years, they were still saying that. I had an interview on CNN at one point, which was kind of embarrassing. I was on screens in all of the airports, and my friends were walking by the bar, and they'd say, "Is that Dee Dee?" And then I had telephone interviews with Michael Pollan when he was writing his book on how to change my mind, how to change your mind. But the focus was on transcendent mystical experiences. The second cohort, which took place shortly after, if not during, this process, the purpose was to release anxiety of death for people with terminal cancer diagnoses. That turned out to have a tremendous impact, and that is still going on today, because that is one of the things that happens with the transformative experiences in letting go. We let go of fear of losing our own life. We're in a different space. So 80% of that cohort 2 showed increases in gratitude, appreciation for life, and acceptance of mortality. So here we have a whole different focus on where gratitude comes from. There were other follow-up studies that you can read about. You see something in the news every day. New York University, Imperial College of London. Interestingly, a lot of those people described an opening of the heart, which I also had. And then I would refer you to an article in the New Yorker magazine 2 months ago in September by Michael Pollan, where he's talking about the same protocol with 30 religious leaders. And it was entitled Psilocybin and Sacred Experience, and to explore and develop their spiritual lives. A lot of them said they were burned out, they had lost contact with their God, their way of worshiping, and they were wondering if there would be, but it was scary. What if I come back and I don't believe in God anymore? You know, I mean, there were really ramifications, and a lot of the music is more Western, spiritually Christian-oriented. So the woman who was Muslim, who's head of religious studies at Stanford, she was saying that that was an issue. She wished there was more music from her cultural background. I would refer you to that. That's a very entertaining article. All you have to do is search Michael Pollan, New Yorker magazine. So I can't share my experience, but I will tell you that integration turns out to be as important as the experience itself, because what happens is that with each of these plant medicines, it opens a window of learning that in animals we call imprinting. But for human beings, it's a period where it's very fertile openness where you can learn new things. So it's different. The longest term is for ibogaine, which is about 2 months of learning time. Psilocybin's more in the middle. Ketamine is much more short-term openness. So these studies are also very interesting, but they take place with mice learning their ways through mazes and things like that. But it is fascinating. So what I will share with you is just, I'm still integrating, and I will say something was different. Something is still different. If I had known that within a few years of that experience, I would leave Washington, D.C., I would move closer to my family, I would lose my mother, my father, and my daughter. Something was different. And I asked myself, it's different maybe in the way I see my own death, because the practice is in letting go of your body. It's going to do its thing. You might as well give up trying to be afraid, because the only thing that'll happen is you get nauseous and puke all over everything. So you might as well just take a nice deep breath and just let your body do what it's going to do. And I don't know if there was an impact on how I see my own death, and also somehow how I see the death of others around me. I don't have any answers for that. But in my integration, I wrote some poetry, and I will share just a couple of lines about that. I'm dying in service of this self on the altar of spirit. Lark ascending. Disassociation of thought allows the wrenching, the rendering of tissue and muscle as my heart opens and surrenders, and waves of pain and the breath of birthing take over. Roar, lion of my heart, and tear me open. Joy, pain, agony, ecstasy. The rapturous river runs through it. I'm Lancelot in search of the Holy Grail and finding myself. Beloved, thou art with me forever, co-partners in evolution, dancing the rhapsody of life. Keep my antenna on alert and my compass on true. I beseech thee, forever listening for my name. I think we're very fortunate to have Paul share his personal journey, his experience during this time, and how that relates to gratitude. Thank you, Paul, for being open to share this with us.
Thank you, Dee Dee. Before I get started, I just want to put a disclaimer out there that although I'm the community steward here at True, I do not represent the views of this congregation or UU. We're a big family with a lot of different ideas, and if you are strongly opposed to psychedelics, you're welcome here. With that disclaimer, good morning. Our theme for this month is nurturing gratitude. I want to invite us into that theme through a story from my own life. A story that begins with a mushroom journey, a box of Kleenex. Oh, I forgot my box of Kleenex over there. And a surprising discovery about how to meet the end of my days with thankfulness rather than dread. This is a very important prop. That's not going to stay there. We'll put that there. You can think about that. For much of my life, even small losses could stir something uneasy in me. The broken mug, the pet whose time has come, the friend who has moved away. Each loss whispered of something larger waiting at the edge of awareness. If it's this hard to let go of the little things, how would I ever face the great ones, the loss of the people I love, the loss of the world I know, the loss of my own life? And underneath that lay the question I could hardly even bear to ask. When everything begins to run out, what might I be willing to do to keep what I have? What happens when fear of loss becomes stronger than love itself? When I entered my first psilocybin journey in 2021, I carried those questions like shadows inside of me. And as the experience unfolded, I found myself face to face with them in the most unexpected way. In July of 2021, Micha and I entered our first psilocybin journey together. We'd hired an underground therapist to sit with us for the day, someone trained to hold space and help us meet whatever might arise. The experience wasn't recreational. It was intentional, a time to listen inward and do our work. Often that work is marked by tears. Sometimes you know exactly why, and sometimes you don't. The medicine has a way of loosening what's been exiled, allowing grief and tenderness to move freely again. At one point, Micha and I were crying together, the kind of crying that comes from somewhere beyond words. He asked for a Kleenex, and I mindlessly reached for the box beside us. Empty. I got up, certain there would be more. We always have more Kleenexes. And I opened the closet. One box. Just one. In any other moment, it would have been nothing, a note for the next Costco run. But right then, that last box seemed to stare back at me, quiet, unmoving, like a messenger with news I didn't want to hear. It was the embodiment of limit itself. Sitting there on the shelf, this is all you have left. That solitary box stopped me in my tracks. I stood there looking at that last box, knowing it was all we had. And what came over me was a quiet knowing this precious final box is something to share. Somehow, its very scarcity made it more precious, not less. I carried it back to Micha and pulled out a tissue, and the act itself felt almost ceremonial, as if each one was meant to be given, not hoarded. And only later did it strike me, and this triggered another round of tears, that I'd felt no urge to keep it for myself. Maybe it was the mushrooms talking, or maybe it was something truer, something in me remembering what really matters. This realization brought to mind a movie I had seen, Don't Look Up. It's a satire about a giant asteroid heading toward the Earth. For most of the film, people are in denial or scrambling to prevent the inevitable. But in the final moments, when they know the end has come, the characters gather around a table. They cook their favorite dishes. They hold hands. They share memories. And as the table shakes, they look into each other's eyes with love. And then the end comes. For once, Hollywood got it right. When the end of all things arrived, what remains is gratitude. Gratitude for shared lives, gratitude for the food, gratitude for the sheer miracle of having lived at all. The improbability of our lives. Because our lives are a miracle. The odds that each of us would be here together in this very moment are beyond comprehension. Every breath, every heartbeat, every connection is impossibly precious. Let's breathe into that for a moment. Take a look around you at the other people in this room and recognize how immeasurably unique and valuable is each person here today. What would be the loss to the world if even one of us never existed? We don't have anything that was not given to us. The air, the food, the land, the companionship of friends and family. We didn't earn these things. We received them. And when the end comes, of course, there is grief and enormous loss, because grief and loss are the shadow sisters of love and gratitude. The good news is, we don't have to wait until our final breath to practice this. Every loss in this impermanent life gives us a chance to rehearse. The loss of a job, the loss of a pet, the loss of our mobility, our independence, our eyesight, or our hearing, even something small like losing a set of car keys, breaking a treasured heirloom. All of these moments give us an opportunity to practice. We can choose to say, thank you for what I had, even as I let it go. Thank you for the joy that was here, even if it's not here now. It's a bit like training your muscles. This practice of gratitude in the small things trains our hearts for the big things. If I can say thank you over something as small as a broken wine glass, maybe I can say thank you when I lose something even more precious. Maybe when the time comes, I'll even be able to whisper thank you with my last breath. Gratitude and grief. The Kleenex box taught me that the end of life doesn't have to be marked by tenacious grasping. It can be a table set with food and memories. It can be the ceremonial giving of a Kleenex and a whispered thank you. Friends, I don't know when my last Kleenex will be pulled from the box. None of us do. But I hope that when it comes, I will be ready, that I will share what I have, offer thanks for what I've been given, and face the final chapter with overflowing gratitude. And until that day, I will rehearse in the little endings, the everyday losses, and the ordinary farewells, because every goodbye, no matter how small, is an invitation to practice.
Just another perspective on impermanence, isn't it? And now we have special music, In Dreams.
Know you are loved. Rest in peace. Dream your sweet dreams till your soul is released. Know you are loved. Rest in peace. Dream your sweet dreams till your soul is released. Beloved child, my heart is yours. Beloved child, go out and open doors with your love, with your faith, with your compassion, with your grace, oh, with your grace. Beloved child, you are the light of the world. Beloved child, go out, spread light to the world. Be strong, be kind, be know that you're divine. Know that it's alright to be afraid. Know you are loved. Rest in peace. Dream your sweet dreams till your soul is released. Know you are loved. Rest in peace. Dream your sweet dreams till your soul is released. Know you are loved. Rest in peace. Dream your sweet dreams till your soul is released. Know you are loved. Rest in peace. Dream your sweet dreams till your soul is released.
Oh, that's beautiful. I don't experience that as sad, but that was lovely. I will say one very short thing. My former husband, who I was married to for 29 years, who was very suspicious about life in general, finally, at the age of 84, had his own experience. And when he came back, it took him a long time, but he did say, I have never felt such peace. He lives in San Antonio. He says, you know, I never leave the house without a gun in my belt. And I've never felt such peace. It's a real gift. As for impermanence, I will say one thing, because basically that's what it's about. Let it flow, let it go, let it come, let it go. And Parker Palmer's dad used to say, just let it go. Today's peacock is tomorrow's feather duster. So as you go forth into 24-hour news cycles, just remember. So now we have the offertory, and this time we'd like to pause to recognize the shared commitment that keeps this community alive. Somebody want to help Ed there? True exists because of generosity, of time, spirit, and resources, offered by those who believe in what we are creating together. If you feel moved to support the work of this community within these walls and beyond, you are warmly invited to give as you are able. You can make a donation online at trueorg.org by clicking on Give at the top of the homepage or by using the QR code in your bulletin or on the screen. If you are with us in person. You may also contribute using the offering plate as it is passed. If you are a guest today, feel free to enjoy the hospitality without a sense of financial obligation. However you choose to give, through your presence, your energy, your kindness, or your financial gifts, we are grateful. Hymn, The Blue Boat Home. Thank you, Kate, for our blue boat, and remember the overview effect.
Though below me I feel no ocean, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions. Are we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home? I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
I always loved that song. It's just great. Now for our benediction. Thank you, Paul.
May we go forth with hearts that remember how fleeting and beautiful this life is, how every moment, every meal, every glance is a gift shared from a finite box. When endings come, may we meet them with reverence rather than fear, with gratitude rather than grasping. May our tears and our thanks mingle freely. Even our last breath becomes an act of love. Until that day, may gratitude guide our living, steady, tender, and overflowing.
Extinguishing of the chalice. We use the words by Elizabeth Sella Jones. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fires of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. As we go forth, I guess I would share one thought from Roland Griffiths, who was in charge of that research. In 2022, he was in Denver for a research conference on psychedelics, and he shared in his keynote address that he had been diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. And he did die in 2023, the next year. He said that, I think it was in that keynote, he said, I did a session in LSD, and I asked LSD, I said, is this cancer going to kill me? And it said, yes, it will kill you, but it doesn't matter. And he's left quite an imprint on all of this research. So rise today in body or spirit, join the hands for our sending forth. I'd like to suggest we try something different. Instead of holding hands and facing the front, try to face the middle. So we face each other. And we'll sing One World Home.
Joys and the griefs, the colors and beliefs, the sunlight shines upon us all the same. Open minds, loving hearts, helping hands, it's a start. One world home, one world home, one world home. Open minds, loving hearts, helping hands, it's a start. One world home.